Welcome to Soul Navigation's Talkshow Tuesday. I'm Linda Fraser, your co-host, and I'll be interviewing and finding out about Stacey Lyons today. She is a medium, she's a tarot reader, she's a spiritual guide consultant. She has wonderful ways how to ground ourselves and connect with the other side of the world, the other side of life. And she is just absolutely thrilling, amazing, and so bright and so intuitive. So we're going to have lots of fun with her today. Hi, Stacey.
Hi, Linda.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, and I'm so excited to be here with you today.
So are we going to explore how to connect with your spiritual guides today?
We sure are. So let's kind of dive right in. So the way that when my own experience with spirit and when I started working with guides and then connecting to other people's guides through reading them or through doing energy healing for them, I kind of developed this really interesting connection and found out some stuff that maybe some people might not know. So some people might be familiar with the term guide, like what is our guide? And what I found out through spirit was that everyone has a main guide. And through this main guide, what they showed me was that there's this guide with us through the whole evolution of our soul. So this guide has been with us through every incarnation, and they kind of keep a library of us. So they know maybe what we've dealt with in a past life that may be kind of affecting us sort of in this life, or patterns that we're in. But then we also have guides that come to us while we're dealing with certain things in our life. Mm-hmm. So we can have a guide from ages 1 to 6, and then 6 to 15. Yeah. And then we can have maybe when we're going through maybe a crisis, I could call it, in our lives, and we could have a guide step in through that. But what is also interesting with that is that when we have a guide come in, to my experience, we can always then call on that guide again, even if they're not our guide right now, but we always have access to what I like to call our divine support team. And in the divine support team, it consists of all of our guides, our guardian angels, past loved ones, spirit animals, which can be really fun, as long with power animals, and any other divine angelic beings that we like to connect with. So when we work with our guides, it's really an important relationship that we develop with them. I have found that it's part of our intuitive development, and it is also incorporates us trusting ourselves too.
Oh, I love that you said that. Oh my gosh. I love that you said that it's part of trusting ourselves, because if we don't listen, we won't hear our guides' guidance. Yeah. We can't see it, we can't hear it. And it can be something as simple as turn right when you're going the same route to the grocery store or the school. Not that we go to the schools anymore, but you know, that little voice that you hear, it's just turn right here. And you turn right, and then you find out later that afternoon, oh my gosh, there was an accident or something had happened. Mm-hmm. I know I can feel this with you, that I know for myself, I really learned to trust those little messages. Yes. And I don't question them ever. And in the beginning, I probably did, mm-hmm. but I sure don't anymore. Yeah. And I love how you do that layering of all the different guides. I so get that.
Yeah.
I love that we have one guide that kind of stays with us. I hadn't heard that before, but it really makes sense to me that they're with us the whole journey. So they have our whole imprint, our whole history, experiences, challenges. That's wonderful. And I so also get that you're talking about, you know, when you're in a crisis, there's a guide that comes in to help us through that. So I guess the guides are really busy right now.
They are. They definitely are. And we can have more than one, you know, as far as when we're going through a unique phase in our life, we can definitely have more than one. Sometimes it can be a male or female, you know, sometimes it can be a female and a female, or a male and a male. And sometimes we can even have really high up angelic beings that can also just not identify as a certain gender, because in the angelic realm, sometimes that doesn't matter. So it's really a frequency that we can feel.
Yeah.
With it, you know, and sometimes I've seen people who have guides that are fairies and mythical creatures, and all of those things exist in other dimensions.
Or even a little globe. You know, like I find that when people pass and someone's really grieving them, they'll see a little globe, like, you know, over the water or something, and it's not a butterfly, it's not a fly, it's not a piece of fluff. It's just a piece of light going, you kind of giving you a little message, like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that. Do you think,
absolutely.
When you were talking there, I was thinking, gosh, it resonates with people in life too. Our guides coming in, I find that whatever circumstance I'm in and I need some help, that there's a person, like a physical person, that also comes into my life at that same time, that has some kind of value to help me through whatever crisis it is. Or it might even be something really good, but there's someone there to help me through it in this plane and the spiritual plane.
Sometimes I found that when we're in that scenario, especially when we're working with a guide, they know what we need, right? So they'll send somebody to assist us in the physical to help us with that. So, and I call those people earthly guides.
Oh, I love it. Earthly guides.
People that show up on the earth plane that act, because they're also, maybe it's unconscious for them, but they're also acting with a sense of intuition to come and help you.
I don't think that somebody's grandma sometimes is their earthly guide, like they're just with them that whole, as long as they can be. I love that earthly guide.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
And we also have past loved ones who become, some can become like our guides too, but they're almost like an assistant to that. So to lend us our wisdom and to be on our divine support team for us.
Yeah.
That we can go to for help and assistance. And right now, it's incredibly important that we are able to connect to that higher frequency and
teach our children.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, to me, this is part of this earthly plane, and maybe this is why we're in the chaos that we are in right now. So we do reconnect with the wholeness of the earth. I mean, all of the planets, all of the different people. I mean, why is there any infighting? It's pretty silly.
Yeah. And a lot of, I was speaking to somebody yesterday that does ancestral work. And she said that a lot of, specifically in America, we have this disconnection with divinity sometimes, and with our ancestors, and with the concept that we are also divine. And so when we connect to our guides, it really helps us to shift our perspective and to raise our consciousness and tap into kind of the gifts of our divinity that is available to us, and have access to also even go deeper with our intuition.
Oh, I love that. Gifts of divinity. So what kinds of gifts of divinity do you think we have? Because that's brilliant.
Well, so what I've been told through spirit is, we have certain things, like one of the gifts of our divinity is the gift of abundance, right? We have the gift of to be abundant, to be healthy, to be prosperous in life. And, when we come down here on earth and we incarnate, a lot of people may ask, what's our purpose? And one of the things that is kind of our only purpose is to also be happy. And that's also one of the gifts of our divinity, is to be happy. So what brings you joy and what brings you happiness, and allowing yourself to live in that frequency of it. And that may be different every day, what makes you happy. And sometimes, we can think really big, but it could be as simple too as like deciding to paint your nails red, or buying a new shampoo, or getting a new sweater. It can be as simple as that.
Or a new flower in your garden.
Exactly.
Or a butterfly visiting, or a pet snuggling up with you.
Yes.
All beautiful things. I love that. Go ahead.
So when we connect with our guides, one of the things, going back to that trust thing, because a lot of times when people who maybe come to me for a healing session or a reading, and they want to know more about their guides. And sometimes people want to say, well, what's my guide's name? And sometimes the guide will give it to me to give to them, but sometimes that comes once you've built that relationship with your guide, because it is part of that trusting that comes with that. And sometimes we can kind of get in our own way. And so when you are trying to connect with your guide, it is important to just kind of go with what you get originally, because it's usually right what you get. So, you know, if you kind of tap in and you get a name like Al, right?
Yeah.
You're like, Al. Go with it, you know?
And you know, I find sometimes too, if you're having troubles listening to your guide, you can start out using a pendulum, and the guides will start talking to you through the pendulum. Like wherever you're at, that's where you start. So this is one of my pendulums.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And so
Beautiful.
with this, I will just ask a question, like, is it appropriate for him to be on Zoom right now? And my interpretation is, if it goes in a circle clockwise, then it's yes. That answer is yes. And if it goes anti-clockwise, then it's no. And sometimes it'll go really crazy too. It'll just like start freaking out. I'm like, okay, stop the bus. I'm listening. What's going on here?
Yeah. And that's one of the beautiful things about working with a pendulum too, because everybody can, when I first learned to use the pendulum, the person teaching me I asked the pendulum, like, show me yes and show me no. And that's how you get that for that. And so you develop your own relationship with your pendulum too. So that's amazing. And that's a beautiful pendulum.
Thank you. I love it. I've had it for quite a while.
Yeah. And I love to also ask, not so much anymore, but I take it when my guides give it to me. But especially in the beginning, I would ask them to show me like a sign, you know, and I felt like that would help me trust my intuition and trust them. And a lot of times when we say, you know, send me a sign, then it's like, well, what are we looking for? And then we just don't know. So I used to kind of play this game with my guides where I would sit in my morning kind of routine where I'd ground my energy and I'd get into this meditative state, and I'd call them in, and I'd just say, you know, I would try to think of something that I wouldn't see every day, but if I saw it, it would stand out to me, you know, like a dragon. Like we wouldn't see a dragon kind of walking down the street.
Right.
So
or
then
even
it would
a number on your phone or on the clock or something, like it's always
right.
12 or 11:11 or something. It's like oh,
Exactly.
what's that about?
Yeah, and we notice those synchronicities. So then it would be my kind of my homework for the day from my guides to bring my awareness to my surroundings, to pay attention to these signs. So,
I love that you gave your guys homework. Okay. Okay, guys, that's your homework.
Well, it was my homework from my guides, because it was teaching me how to become aware of my surroundings too, because sometimes when we're working with our guides, we're not always remaining present.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would allow me to kind of shift my perspective to be in the moment, but also be perceptive to what they were trying to show me. Because sometimes when working with them, I would say, I'm going to need you to kind of put it in my face, you know, so I can't miss it.
Yeah. You know, I love that. I think of these. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, we can ask them, you know, to put a sign in our face, because there are times when you're not going to see the sign that you ask for, and that is intentional.
Yeah, and it's a work in progress. You have to get used to it. You have to break down those barriers that you have, whatever they are. And I don't think it's against any religion to have spirit guides. I mean, that's what God is.
Mm-hmm.
Our guide. So I think we're really blessed when we can tap into that. And I would love to see our children be taught that. You know, I think I think of all these, I'm a kind of weird, this is a side note, I'm a weird, you know, Forensic Files kind of person. I like all those crazy murderous shows. And I always hear this from the survivors. I had a feeling, but I'm like, oh my gosh. So your guide was there telling you, you know, and I'm not blaming anyone. Trust me, I'm not. I mean, there's just, you don't think that some of these things would ever happen. So our awareness it's really hard to tie that in, but
Yeah.
our guide is there saying, even don't cross that street because here's a bus coming and it ran through a red light or something, gosh, so many things can happen. And our guides are always there if we can learn to listen and be still enough to hear and trust ourselves and them. Right?
Yes. Yeah. And I'm feeling like I'm being guided to share this story with you, Linda, but the first time, because sometimes my gifts come in different ways where I can hear, or I can, it almost comes as a form of thought, but I know it's not my thought or a feeling. And the first time that I was aware of my gifts, but I wasn't really working with them. And it was probably 2009. And I was at this red light, stopped in my car, and the light turned green, and I heard, "Stop, don't go." Like, we're talking right now. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm not going to go, because it was the strangest thing. Because I'm like, I'm alone in the car. And so I'm just going to sit here for a second. And as the light turned green in the opposite traffic, there was a truck that ran the red light and would have hit me had I gone through the light. And I remember thinking, like, what just happened? And it really just, it made me become so much more aware of it. And so they can definitely intervene in moments like that, to guide us.
Beautiful story.
Like, right, or don't go at all,
Yeah. What a beautiful story. I love that. It really shows the power that's in connecting.
Absolutely.
Do you have some, I don't know, tips or tricks for people to start? Like you said, okay, ask for that signal. And then what would maybe be the next thing? I added the pendulum. What else do you think we could add?
So, there are some really good guided meditations out there too that can help you to connect with guides. And one of the, I guess the easiest way that you can do, I like to call it our inner temple. So if you, in your spiritual practice, anybody just beginning, kind of create this inner temple for yourself. So where you would go to kind of your own getaway, so to speak. And it can be designed however you want. Like my personal one has lots of colors and is really associated with who I've been in other lifetimes too. So you can take yourself into a meditative state and ask and set the intention to connect with your guide and have a conversation in this meditative state. And sometimes meditation is hard for people. But in this state, talk to your guide and ask a question and just try to remember the answer and maybe write it down, like have a pen and paper ready, or maybe use the audio notes on your phone. And just after you get out of that meditative state, record what you receive. And again, it's going to be about trusting yourself with that and just going with what you're getting. The other thing is that sometimes, and you can set the intention before you go to sleep, but sometimes our guides will come to us in our sleep and in our dream time and give us maybe guidance as to what we're doing too. And I love the pendulum because you can ask your guides those yes or no questions and have them kind of guide you along the way using that too.
Absolutely. I love that you added that when you go to sleep, like maybe write it in a little notebook or something and just ask for that message in the night. You know what else I love to use with meditations? I love to use crystals. I know you do too. So
yes, I do.
A lovely
look at that
quartz and amethyst, or look at this. I got this, I think it was in Sedona or Flagstaff.
Oh, beautiful.
And it's like there's a bird inside, which I love, love, love birds, but just stunning. There's stunning pieces, whatever resonates with you. I also like to use incense and a lot of Oriental things. Yeah,
there's actually these great stones too. They go by a few different names. Some of them are called prophecy stones. Some of them, I believe they're also called moshi balls. Yeah. So, and there's usually a male and a female, and those are really good for meditation.
Oh, wonderful. You know what else I think too, like for those people that are really active, they need to be in their body, like an Aries moon or something, or an Aries person, or even myself being a Sag, I need to move. I can meditate like when I'm exercising or walking the dog or doing my gardening, and I just get into this calm, because it's not like meditate, I have to sit for 30 minutes and be still with my, butt off the floor 4 inches or whatever. It can be just doing something repetitive where you just are not having to think, not having to be in your mind. And and so now I've gotten to the place where I really notice my guides when I'm out and about, more so than anywhere else. It's like when I'm out, they're always giving me advice or telling me this or that, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah, it is. It is. My form of meditation, I like to, I consider walking a form of meditation. So when I'm out in nature like that, but it's when you when you get into it and you start to really allow yourself to have fun. I mean, you can go shopping with your guides, you can go to the grocery store, you can, you can ask them, what do you want to eat? Yeah. Or what am I craving today? And all of these things are leading us to, in a way, have a deeper relationship with ourselves.
Yes.
Which is also very important, and a deeper relationship to our soul and who we really are, and our most authentic version of us.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, because it's bringing this inner awareness to what fuels our soul. Because I know when I'm connected more to my guides, I have much more peace and tranquility. It's happiness or joy, but it's not like, oh, we just had a really good time or a really great conversation or fabulous dance. It's just this calm, lovely serenity.
Mm-hmm.
And then that makes us more resilient, I think, even our immune system, which is super important right now with this pandemic, or my emotional state. It helps, it just helps us live such a richer life. So I love that you said it gets us more in touch with us.
Yeah. And when all of those things that you were just talking about too, those are all great benefits of grounding our energy, because when we're up in the higher dimensions and we're connecting to that divine frequency, we're still on earth. So it's important to kind of ground your energy too when you're working with your guides, and grounding your energy will help you feel that sense of calmness too, and can help release anxiety and also help you be present. But also get you in that, the way I visualize it and see it from spirit is like when we're on earth and the energy and the vibration is coming from above and it's circling down in us, going down into the earth and just having this constant flow. So it's almost like we're engulfed in this beautiful, I call it an energy bubble. So I visualize it like Glinda coming down from the Wizard of Oz, in her big pink bubble. So we're just surrounded in this beautiful energy bubble from like above and below and connected within. So, and it just brings us, like you said, to this deeper state of almost feeling fulfilled and happy.
And peace.
Yeah.
That we're taken care of. We don't really have anything to worry about. I mean, okay, yes, if we want to live in this two-dimensional world, we do. But knowing in the bigger picture of things, we're absolutely fine. We're here to learn our lessons, and we're learning them together. And we're not going to disappear because we're energy.
Yeah.
So, and I love that connectedness with spirit and the, what did you call it?
Our divine support team?
The bubble?
Oh, the energy bubble?
The energy bubble. So it's like a circuit going through all of our, oh gosh, I'm losing the word now. All of our...
Like our energy bodies?
Well, I was thinking Kundalini, but not Kundalini, but just the different like...
our chakras?
Yes, thank you so much. The chakras. Right? And then it brightens up the chakras. The more you're connected, it brightens up the chakras. Yeah. So, the spiritual, as you're saying, the heart center, the groundedness, I mean, it just moves straight through. And that is just fascinating.
Yeah. And, and that's a fun topic I like to talk about too. But as the earth is changing, our chakras are going to begin to change too. So maybe that's something that we can talk about in another episode. But as as humans, and we're raising our own frequency, we're going to start turning on higher chakras that are available to us to work with. So it's going to start to change from the traditional 7 chakras. But our energy systems are so impacted and can be so positively impacted by having this relationship with our guides and our divine support team and with the earth, and with being in this flow of allowing ourselves to be present and allowing ourselves to almost be in this receptivity of allowing things to come to us.
Yeah.
And release the control of that. And I'm also an Aries moon. Did you say you were an Aries moon?
No, but I did talk about Aries moon, yes.
Yeah. And I'm a Capricorn sun and a Cancer rising. So I have worked a lot on, releasing the control up to the higher powers and letting everything get worked out for me, while still taking action on the things that I'm guided to take action on. But it's a beautiful relationship when you get in that flow of it. But for those people that may just be starting out, I would say to them too, that, like I said, it can probably take years to develop you trusting yourself. And even after that, you may have moments of like, did I hear that correctly? Or did I see that correctly? But allowing yourself also to have patience while you're starting out and while you're beginning to work with your guides and
forgiveness if you didn't listen and then you went, oh gosh, I should have listened and that wouldn't have happened.
Yes, right? And I think anybody can attest that has happened to them when we're like, man, I saw that coming and I still did it,
Yeah. And don't you think too, that this is just so pertinent now for someone that's, lonely, that's, gosh, maybe they're in an assisted living home, or they're, I don't know. I mean, we're all in quarantine, or some of us are in quarantine, some of us aren't. I don't really know what's going on for a lot of people, but we're isolated. A lot of people are isolated. And to know that we're not alone and that we have love, because I think as you start letting these guides in, and you do need to be protective about what guides you do let in, because there are negative ones. So maybe we should touch on that too, just to put up the protectiveness so, we don't get any confusion. But when you do get those higher level guides coming in and you feel that love, you feel that acceptance, and that can steady you through so much emotional turmoil.
Absolutely.
Let's touch on the negative part and how do we protect ourselves?
Sure.
Yeah.
So one of the ways that I love, and it's really easy to do, but I love working with Archangel Michael. For anybody who's familiar with Archangel Michael, he's really great to like call in, and he just like gets down to business and kind of protect you. So his color is like this beautiful cobalt blue. When I was first starting out, I would call on, for me, I referred to it as God. Some people refer to God as universe, or whatever the terminology that they may resonate with. But I would call in that highest divine power. And then I would call in my guardian angels, because we all have guardian angels too that are part of our divine support team. And then any of maybe our past loved ones, but call in people that resonate for you for protection. And so I like to work with Archangel Michael because he is the Archangel of protection. So you can call on him.
Right? That would be the first. Call on him before you start working with guides.
Yes, I would, especially for your first time.
Yeah. First 100 times. Let's be safe. Let's not take any chances.
And you can call on him every day to be with you. And one of the beautiful things is, in spirit, you can be everywhere at the same time, So like you could be working with Archangel Michael in Arizona, and I could be working with him here in Connecticut, and somebody could be working with him in every other place around this world. And he'll be there for all of us. So in spirit form, it's very limitless. So, you can call on him, and you can kind of surround yourself in that beautiful cobalt light, and just ask that you be connected to like the purest divine energies for your greatest good.
Yeah. Oh, I
you
love
know,
it.
and that will kind of protect you. And you can also call on Archangel Michael and his army. So Archangel Michael has it's called the Blue Flame Army. And so, you know, you can call on his mighty warriors, so to speak, which are part of his team. And so allow them to assist you in whatever you may be working through.
And let's put a caveat in here. So you're asking the spirit guides to come in, or Archangel Michael's army, to assist you, but to assist you in what is good and positive, not anything that's negative or hurtful.
Right. And any, like, a true divine being of light isn't going to say negative things to you.
Yes.
Even if they have something that you may not want to hear, they're going to put it in a way that's loving.
Yeah.
You know, so if you are, for any reason, if you're getting messages like, I don't know who would get this message, but like, or like,
karate, just leave them there.
Or like, oh, I wouldn't wear that sweater because that makes you look fat. Like, your guides would never say that to you.
Right.
They may say like, let's pick a different outfit, right? But they would say loving things to you.
Yeah.
So when you're tapped into those other energies, if you're feeling something is off, then that's when you can, you know, call in Archangel Michael again and ask that you are only connected to energies that are in service to your greatest good.
I love it. Good. Thank you, Stacey. You know, I think too that some people may not realize that we're using our imagination here. Mm-hmm. Right? So if we're asking for cobalt blue, you know, Archangel Michael to protect us, and we're envisioning this cobalt blue light surrounding our body, and, you know, maybe 3-4 feet out, because our energies go out. And it's using your imagination in a way.
It is. Yeah. And some people may say, well, I have a hard time visualizing, just like some people say, oh, I have a hard time meditating. When you are, and even if you are years into this, it really is also about the intention of it. So, you know, if you have a hard time visualizing and using your imagination to maybe see that color of light around you, you can always just set the intention that that it is happening too.
Yes.
So if you're not seeing it right away, that's totally okay.
Yes. As long as you put the intention out there, it's energy in the world and it's working.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing too, to notice that we really have to be careful about our thoughts. You know, like you said about the sweater that makes you look fat. If we're telling ourselves that, we're believing that. Even if we're not believing it, we need to stop telling ourselves that. We need to say, oh, you know what? Let's pick a different color or a different sweater. It looks this more flattering for us. And then put that sweater in the donation bag. On you go.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, there's, I forget the gentleman's name, but he did a fantastic, it was a research report, and I know that there's a book, but the human body is made up of a lot of water.
Water.
Yeah. And they looked at the crystals of the water particles and how different words would associate that. And those thoughts, you know, just think about what that's doing to our body, because Absolutely. We are water, you know?
Absolutely. It's proven science, if whatever you say, or even what you put on as a label. So even that movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? It's so old now. I don't know if any of you have watched it, but it's really interesting. Beautiful people on there, and it's all about the psyche, really, and the different levels of the world. Mm-hmm. So there's an end scene. I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's an end scene where this woman is just writing all these beautiful sayings, and she's pasting it all over herself or all over the mirror. I can't remember which. And it's just such a touching moment, because there was this transformation from negative thought and negative self-esteem, you know, just not being really confident and believing in themselves, to this beautiful butterfly.
Beautiful.
You know? Yeah. So I think that's what our spirit guides really are here for us. That's a major part of our spirit guides.
Yeah.
To lift us up. And then we're in a higher vibrational energy where we can do more good and help more people. Absolutely.
And, you know, one of the things too, it's a really simple technique that my guide had shared with me, and I love it. But especially when we're first starting out, sometimes there can be, like sometimes we can get a little fear that will get mixed in. And whenever we experience that, or we start tapping into the ego part that will try to like push its way in, my guide gave me this great exercise where we just pause, we take a breath, and then we refocus on what we were trying to do, right? With the intention or with the meditation. So we just pause, breathe, and then refocus with it. And allowing ourselves that compassion to say, okay, we're just gonna like reset, you know?
Yeah, that's a really great reset. And can I add another one?
Absolutely.
So just 3 taps to the chest, bump, 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 and that will kind of reset you too.
Yeah.
And it's you know, some people may need the air energy, and some maybe need the physical touch to get it. But that 3 taps, and it just takes you out of whatever negative energy you're in.
Absolutely. And I just posted something on the Soul Navigation Facebook page today, but we can clap our hands 3 times, and that will actually shift the energy for us too.
That's a really good one. I love that one.
I was at Best Buy a couple weeks ago, and they were having a problem. So I was at the register, and I said to the gentleman, let's clap 3 times. And he looked at me really funny, and we did. And then it started working. So
I wish I'd have known that a couple days ago. I was at Costco, and this poor stressed out mother was just reaming on her poor little son, who was crying because he couldn't get the water bottle. And it was so devastating. So I kept going near, trying to lift the energy up. But that 3 claps probably would have helped quite a bit.
Yeah. So anybody can try that too, but that'll also help you to refocus your energy also.
Any last notes you want to add?
You know, have fun with it. For anybody who's trying to connect with your guides, is have fun, because our guides have a sense of humor. They really, really do. So, you know, and it may take you, sometimes I say to myself, like, what they must be thinking up there, like all the signs and all the things. And then sometimes it can take a little while to all click in. So have fun with it, be patient with yourself, and allow yourself to trust yourself with it. And that'll be a work in progress. But the more that you can take it minute by minute. If it feels like it's really overwhelming, just take it minute by minute or hour by hour, however you can. And then that starts to build, because the more, it's with any kind of relationship, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out of it, you know? So allowing yourself to build that relationship.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean, I like you said, it doesn't mean you have to do it. It's not like, okay, wake up tomorrow morning and that's all you're going to think about is connecting with your spirit guides. It's, you know, ease into it. Give yourself some room to breathe and relax into it.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Maybe you're the type of person, if you're very Virgoian, you might have to have it timed like every day at 9 a.m. and then at 3 p.m. and 12, you know, whatever. You're going to spend 10 minutes connecting with your guides. You could be that type of person too, whatever works for you.
Yeah. And they'll find their way to get to you. They will. They'll make themselves known.
Yeah, because they want to be known. They want to be helpful.
Yes.
And they are helpful. Even if we don't actually connect with them, they are still helpful. They are still guiding us.
Absolutely.
We don't even notice it.
Yeah. And on that, I'll make this my last point, but in the divine realm, because we have free will as humans, we also have to remember to ask for the help. So when we want them to intervene for us, all we have to do is ask, and they're right there.
Brilliant last point. Thank you so much for that, Stacey. And you're just such a beautiful, warm, kind, loving person. It was so lovely to spend this time with you.
Oh, well, thank you, Linda.
Yeah. On our wonderful soul navigation. Hey, did you hear that the new moon packages are on soulnavigation.com? So you can get them. It's like a beautiful oil. Didn't you make these, Stacey? Weren't you the one who put the crystals and essential oils together?
I did, yes.
Oh my gosh, I have to get me some.
They're amazing. They are.
Okay,
I'm biased on it, but they're great.
Yeah, I love essential oils. And I heard that you have the most beautiful blends that are just divine.
Well, they're also divinely inspired. So my guides and the divine tell me what to put in and the amount, and we do it. So, and it comes out great.
I can't wait. I'm going to go on as soon as we're finished here and check them out. Okay. Well, lovely to spend time with you. And we hope to see you back here again at Soul Navigation Talkshow Tuesdays, 3 p.m. And check us out at soulnavigation.com. If you want a reading with Stacey or myself, Linda, come on over there and schedule. We'll be so blessed to be in your life. Mwah. Take care.